get small. Those two words describe why it may be important for you to start a business in a small community rather than a large urban area. It's an interesting notion. Most people think that they need to get into a big city so there's a lot of customers around. Not necessarily the case. Thanks for tuning in today on NxBizSuccess. My name is Lynn Hinderrocker, and I'm visiting about this subject with Mr. Kevin Wilkins. He's from the Fremont, Nebraska area. He's the executive director for the Greater Fremont Development Corporation. Thanks for joining me here on NxBizSuccess.
Thanks, Lynn.
Yeah, this is an exciting and kind of an off-the-wall idea about starting a business in a small community, but it's becoming increasingly popular to get back to the roots, bring your kids into smaller communities, maybe a more wholesome community, maybe the cost of living is less. I don't know. Why should a small business person start a business in a smaller community, say 25,000 people, rather than 250,000 or even a million plus?
One word, lifestyle.
Yeah.
Freedom. 2 words. That's 2 words. Lifestyle and freedom.
Yeah. All right, we could talk about that forever.
But there are opportunities in small towns. Now there is a misconception that it's a lot cheaper to live in a small town.
Yeah.
Real estate is probably less expensive.
Okay, all right.
But generally, they're on parity.
Yeah, all right. The gas and the groceries are going to be about the same and so on.
Your basic expenses are going to be uncomparable.
Okay.
But the main issue is lifestyle.
All right.
It's the fact that you can leave your car unlocked and leave your keys in the ignition and have the
maybe leave the front door of your business unlocked. You know.
If you have kids, everybody in town knows your kids.
Yeah.
And if they're doing something wrong, they'll pick up the phone and call you.
You know, this is charming. It actually is. But there are a lot of people out there that are saying, hey, I'm in small business to make a lot of money, and I can't understand why in the world they're even talking on this video podcast about lifestyle. What do you think about those kinds of people?
Well, it depends on what type of business you're going to own.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a consumer-driven type of small business where you're looking at a captive market, no, you probably don't want to be in a small town.
Okay.
If you're going to make a lot of money, because you have a limited market base.
Sure.
But if you're able to take a online business or some type of consulting business, or in the Center for the New West used to call them lone eagles.
Yeah.
Bring those to a rural area, because you can. The beauty of today is you can live anywhere you want to.
Yeah, and that you just nailed it right there, Kevin. I'll tell you what, that alone creates so many opportunities. We've had tech people on talking about the next new trend, which is virtualization and how telecommuting is. Everybody can communicate with everybody else. You don't have to be in the middle of downtown Manhattan. You can be in an eastern Nebraska rural area, make a good living, and maybe actually enjoy yourself a little bit more.
From an economic development perspective, Lynn, we look at the things called fatal flaws.
Okay.
So what you would do as a small business is you would dissect your business and say, okay, I have to have this, this, and this in order to survive.
Okay.
Now, anything else is probably not that important. You look at what your fatal flaws are, and then you put out feelers as to where I can meet those needs. It might be freight delivery, it might be air service, it might be a certain broadband speed.
Okay.
But that is those. It's surprising how many small communities can meet those demands.
Yeah.
That people aren't even aware of.
These would be like the key factors for success, kind of the prerequisites to going into business.
Well, let's say that you are a successful internet-based company that needs a certain amount of broadband speed.
Sure.
You need a certain pipe. There may be a cost to that pipe going into a small community. There may not be. You don't know until you look.
Sure. Okay. I understand. You talked about lifestyle, and many people are watching this podcast have never been or lived, much less worked in a small community. Elaborate on that for a little bit more. Do you have more? You don't have as many customers, as many bodies perhaps nearby, but are there things that compensate? I mean, do you have to be more involved in the PTA and all those kinds of community things? And is that good or bad? How about you're living your life that way?
Everybody knows you.
Yeah.
And you know everybody.
Yeah.
There is a transparency in small towns that is endearing. I grew up in a small town. I've owned businesses in small towns. I've worked in small towns. I have a passion for small communities.
Right.
But you get used to the fact. The good thing is everybody knows you, and the bad thing is everybody knows you.
Explain that. I mean, if something goes badly with your business or you don't treat your customers well, probably your reputation is besmirched, right? And that's going to really hurt your growth opportunities in a small community.
Yes,
okay.
It will, because word travels fast.
Yeah.
And you're in a limited marketplace.
Right.
On the flip side of that, small towns are also very forgiving.
A little more tolerant.
They're a little more tolerant. They'll give you several chances where in the city, I don't have to give you a second chance.
Sure,
I can just go on to the next guy.
That's a great point. Is it easier to get resources, whether it's money or office equipment and so on, in these small communities because you're closer to them, or not? Can you get better prices on office equipment or the things you spend on your business?
It's basically the same.
Pretty much the same. Okay.
For most of your supplies, the things are very mobile these days.
Right.
So the cost of equipment, supplies is basically it's neither less expensive or more expensive.
But you have more of a personal relationship with people. Can you assume that you know their family, you've seen their friends, you've seen their children at school or Sunday school or whatever? Does that give you an edge with these people, or because they're all there doing the same thing with each other, it's pretty much the same?
You have to be careful when you're looking at small towns that you're not just going in. It's not a situation where you're just taking in each other's laundry, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'll give you $1 to do your laundry. You give me $1 to do.
I can see how economic growth wouldn't exactly come out of that.
So you have to go into these with a very strong identity of who you're going to be and where your income's going to come from.
Yeah.
And then maybe the relationships come into play, but the relationships are more of a lifestyle issue.
Not really the business. That's not driving the business.
It's not driving the business.
Yeah.
Unless you're dealing specifically with that captive market.
Yeah. Are most of these smaller communities web savvy? Do they really make it easy for people to get on the web and do business on the web, like an attorney or a sales rep, and telecommute on the phone? I mean, why don't we see a giant rush of those kinds of people into these smaller rural communities to do exactly this?
Connectivity in Nebraska is pretty good, and connectivity in most rural areas, Iowa, wherever you be. And there's good connectivity with the stimulus package. We're looking to expand broadband into these rural areas, so there may be more of this coming, but it's more. There was a migration to the urban areas because that's where people could make a higher income. And we were driven by higher incomes and excitement. Now, if you look at Rich Karlgaard's Life 2.0, he's looking at people in the cities are now reflecting back upon the values of the small community.
Yeah, and in our society today, and particularly in our economy, I think people are giving that a long look, that opportunity and that possible. Don't you agree?
It's combining a sense of home with a sense of commerce.
Yeah, and a sense of authenticity with a sense of excitement and unfamiliarity, but you also kind of want that balance. I see more and more people being interested in a balanced lifestyle. So I really appreciate your
there's a little bit of Mayberry-ish available. That I had a newspaper in a small town.
Yes.
Every Thursday afternoon I would go fishing. Everybody knew that I was not in the office on Thursday afternoon.
Yeah. And that's charming to a huge percentage of America right now that are rushing to and from projects, and they never seem to get anything done, and they're home and they're working till late at night every single day and on the weekends. And I appreciate it's more of a bucolic lifestyle, I guess.
Correct.
Absolutely. Well, Kevin Wilkins from the Fremont, Nebraska area, appreciate you sharing this spin on community-based businesses. It's a refreshing and a very timely option for a lot of small businesses and wannabe entrepreneurs. Tune in next time to NxBizSuccess, where we talk to more people like Kevin Wilkins. He can fill you in, save you a lot of time, a lot of interesting solutions out there, more options, more resources than you actually realize are available to you so that you can, in fact, succeed. My name is Lynn Hinderacher. Keep on going and keep on growing.